Welcome to the commission meeting for January 14th, 2025. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, please, Mr. McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn.
Present.
Commissioner Siegler.
Here.
Commissioner Silverman. Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Present.
Commissioner Grella.
Here. I'll go right into the summary discussion topics, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, Commission met in discussion session and received information to discuss the following items. We heard a presentation from our Public Works Director, Rudy Supel, on the replacement of root damaged sidewalk slabs. We're going to take a look at our current program and potentially supplement that for some of the more higher priority slabs. We also heard a presentation by Chief Haberman, Deputy Chief Chufy, and Greg Wharton on police vehicles approved for purchase in the 2025 budget and electrification considerations for the municipal fleet. We're going to continue to gather some additional information on that topic as well. Prior to that meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, January 28th. That meeting will begin at 8 p.m. in this room. Here are the ways the public can participate in person. You don't need to pre-register. Simply show up at the appropriate meeting time. And if you wish to speak during the meeting, simply sign the sign-up sheet at the back of the room or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raised hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. That is all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Community highlights, Commission Vice President Siegler.
Thank you, Mr. President. Applications are available now for the Mount Lebanon Citizens Police Academy, a fun, engaging, and free program. March 12th through May 14th, you'll learn all about our police department, including patrol, use of force, critical incident response, our canine officer, investigations, crime scenes, and more. Get details in an application at mountlebanon.org/Citizens Police Academy. This is the time of year when we put out our call for volunteers to apply for positions on our various boards and authorities. New appointees to all our boards and authorities will start their work in April. Read descriptions of the boards and apply by March 1st at mountlebanon.org/boards. Christmas tree recycling continues at your curbside this week. Simply put your tree out the day before your regular trash pickup. Please remove all lights, tinsel, and decorations and do not put in any type of bag. These trees will be shredded for mulch. Trash and recycling schedules are available at our website at mountlebanon.org/recycling, or you can pick up a hard copy at our front desk at the municipal building weekdays from 8:30 to 5. Monday is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Mount Lebanon will honor him with a day of service, sponsored by the Civic Engagement Board from 9 a.m. to noon, starting here in this room. You can go to the municipal website to RSVP at mountlebanon.org. That is all.
Thank you very much. At this time, I have the pleasure and the honor of recognizing a couple of our firefighters. So I want to mention the 2024 Firefighter of the Year. The Firefighter of the Year award is awarded annually to a volunteer firefighter who has demonstrated outstanding service to the Mount Lebanon Fire Department and Mount Lebanon residents with regard to fire prevention, fire protection, and/or suppression while upholding the core values and goals of the Mount Lebanon Fire Department. This year's Firefighter of the Year was nominated by her peers for her efforts as an emerging leader in our organization, demonstrating a unique ability to connect with the community. This individual has identified underserved needs by establishing programs to expand the department's education efforts. Her work developing fire and life safety lunchtime clubs and translating our fire safety lessons to other languages for families with little or no English-speaking members are examples of such programs. She serves as a role model for our community's children through her ability to connect with students of all ages. Her efforts are essential to the growth and inclusiveness of the department through her work with Women in Fire. mentoring recruits, and her role on the peer support team. The 2024 Firefighter of the Year Award for outstanding service to the Mount Lebanon Fire Department is awarded to firefighter Lindsay Cashman. Next, the 2024 Fire Officer of the Year. The Fire Officer of the Year Award is awarded annually to a fire officer who has demonstrated outstanding service to the Mount Lebanon Fire Department and Mount Lebanon residents with regard to fire prevention, fire protection, and/or suppression while upholding the core values and goals of the Mount Lebanon Fire Department. This year's Fire Officer of the Year was nominated by his peers for his work showcasing a long-term pattern of excellence. His passion for the fire service through his work showcasing personal and professional interactions demonstrates a deep commitment to the department and community. He always makes time for others in the organization, from the most senior member to our newest probationary firefighters. He is an excellent ambassador of the fire department through his work in fire prevention, as evidenced by his ability to develop positive relationships with building owners and managers. The 2024 Fire Officer of the Year Award for outstanding service to the Mount Lebanon Fire Department is awarded to Deputy Chief Lauren Hughes. Chief, you have, yeah, please. Sure. Chief, do you want to take it? Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you, President Gorella. Thank you, Commission, for this opportunity to thank some of our own. One of the things that's a tremendous amount of pride that I get to do in this role is to recognize some of our own and the amazing things that they do. One of the things that's of note of this particular award that makes it so meaningful is the fact that you're nominated by your own peers. You are awarded by your own peers, a committee that serves on that. We are an extremely high functioning organization with top tier talent. So to rise to this level, to be recognized as your peers really means a lot. And I really want to just, again, another round of applause for Deputy Chief Hughes, Firefighter Pat. And this may get me in a lot of trouble, but I would be remiss to say a special thank you to Deputy Chief Hughes, who will be retiring at the end of this month with 25 years of service to this community.
Wow.
His dedication and his leadership is second to none, and he will be sorely missed.
That's right.
We'll move on to citizens' comments and also online comments. And Oh, it's on this side, Steve.
Oh, that's right.
Before we start here, we understand that some of you may be here after the publication of a story released in the Jewish Chronicle regarding Chabad's request to place menorah in public spaces in celebration of Hanukkah. It's important to understand that Mount Lebanon does not accept requests or grant permission to third-party groups to add any municipal displays. Such a permitting process would require permission to be granted to any and all groups without regard to the message or the group making the request. We take the position to ensure municipal displays represent the character of the community without excluding any specific groups. We are dedicated to perpetuating a community with a profound sense of belonging for each individual. We strive for constant improvement as we continue to learn and grow. In 2021, the Commission created an ad hoc committee with 4 DEI groups made up completely of residents who volunteered their time to explore ways we could create a more inclusive, more welcoming community for all. For an entire year, those resident committees met with staff, commission, outside experts and consultants, and many different constituency groups across Mount Lebanon. At the end of their work, they deliver reports and recommendations to the commission, some of which have already been implemented. Other recommendations are now with the 9-member Civic Engagement Board, which was created in April 2023 and is charged with examining the subject of inclusion globally and makes recommendations to the commission regarding municipal efforts, including holiday displays on municipality-owned and controlled properties. They will be discussing this issue in the months ahead with recommendations to the commission to follow. I want to say I'm glad this issue was raised. I trust the CEB and the open process that'll be used to discuss this situation, and I look forward to hearing their thoughts and recommendations.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Silverman. I'm just going to read a statement we read before all of our citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try to answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission right up here. State your name and address for the record. I will call names in order, and I'm not great with names, and sometimes handwriting is tough too. So if I make a mess of your name, just restate your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for up to 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope that dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. With that said, first person on the list is Audrey Schell. Correct. Hi.
Thank you so much for having me and the opportunity. My name.
Name and
So
address. Thanks.
my name is Audrey Shaw, 26 Rob Hollow, and I'm a Mount Lebanon homeowner and resident. I'm a retired educator, administrator, professional both in the public and private sectors for more than 45 years. My husband and I own our home and we live on Rob Hollow. We've lived in Mount Lebanon for about 36 years and we're of the Jewish faith. So I'm here today with my husband and our concerns regarding the city's choice over the past 2 years and this holiday season to exclude a menorah being displayed as part of our city's winter holiday season celebration. I think we all know that a Christmas tree or a fir or pine with a star on top displays the holiday and it represents the birth of Christ. And the decorative lights placed tend to represent Christ as being the light of the world. Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, Father Christmas originates from the 13th century Christian and Catholic faith, being the patron Saint Nicholas, and Saint Claus or Saint Nick is said to joyfully bring gifts to children on Christmas Eve. The reference here is from Wikipedia, but there are many other references. Mount Lebanon celebrated the Christmas season with music, events, food, festivities in the Uptown Market area as children visited with Santa. A traditional Christmas tree lighting event took place on Clearview Commons on Washington Road. It is not problematic or contrary to me that my city that I love represents such a welcoming, joyous, and open display of Christmas activities and celebration for its residents. The problem that does exist for me and my husband our family and my Jewish community, however, is that our choice and opportunity to celebrate our Jewish faith in the city does not exist. Why? Well, because it's been disallowed. The request this year and years past by Rabbi Rosenblum and Chabad of the South Hills to include a menorah in the Mount Lebanon holiday celebration has actually been rejected and denied. And it's kind of gone on for 2 years. Once again, this year, my husband and I and our Mount Lebanon Jewish community of friends actually had to look to the city of Dormont. The Dormont city officials approved and arranged with Rabbi Rosenblum a safe location to include and allow a beautiful display of a menorah in the parking lot of the city pool location on Banksville Road. And the city of Dormont endorsed, supported, and most importantly, provided the opportunity, being an inclusive city. The residents celebrated a special light show, and the city fire department provided even a candy drop for the children from their fire trucks. And we're aware that the city of Washington, PA, at least I'm aware of it, approved inclusively a menorah lighting in their city hall too. And we are very thankful to Dormont officials and the police department staff and officers and their city fire department for providing dedicated support and protection in the city of Dormont for our holiday celebration. Why is it acceptable that our neighbor city of Dormont endorsed and approved Rabbi Rosenblum and Chabad of the South Hills' request for menorah to be displayed, but the city in which I live, that I contribute to, that I love, has not? And we all understand and we follow and we're required to follow the same constitutional laws. I know that we all agree with that. I practice and I observe the Jewish faith, and I'm also a loyal American who supports and affirms the Constitution with justice and rights for all citizens, regardless of race, color, or creed, or religion. These rights are guaranteed to all of us from our founding fathers. The Mount Lebanon City website says, quote, "The municipality recognizes diversity, equity, and inclusion as essential to a positive and a healthy community, and you are welcome and wanted here." But it's difficult for me to feel that sentiment as almost a lifelong resident here almost. So I'm asking for a resolve for the city of Mount Lebanon to include the menorah lighting that Rabbi Rosenblum has requested in its winter holiday celebration. Being a strong, committed, diverse, and ethical city, and being a viable city in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in the United States of America, its planning and practices, we need to follow the law of the land. And I'm sure that we all can work together for a better situation here so that all faiths, including the Jewish faith, is included in Mount Lebanon's holiday celebrations. And I have confidence and trust that this will be the case in the coming holiday season for 2025 and thereafter. And I really appreciate the opportunity for me to share my feelings because I love my city completely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. The last issue of the USA Today last year, there was an article on Jimmy Carter. And the byline was just simple decency. Nobody would argue that Jimmy Carter was not a decent man. We've had a lot of decent people in Mount Lebanon, and a lot of them who have left Mount Lebanon because they just couldn't tolerate what the commission is doing in regards to the deer. I've known a lot of these people. I've met a lot more. I've talked to them. I'm sure you folks don't talk to them. they don't have much regard for the commissioners, it seems. But when somebody who has lived here all their lives says they're leaving, you know, over 50 years, and they no longer like Mount Lebanon, what's the problem? I mean, that to me is a huge issue. And I heard time after time after time, Mount Lebanon has changed. Well, everything changes. I've changed. There was a time I thought I could make an Olympic team. That time is long past. Another woman tells me that Mount Lebanon is not the refined community that she thought it was, that she was led to believe. That's sad. To me, that's very sad. So she left because she's been around a lot and she knows what a refined community is, and that's where she's going to live, not in Mount Lebanon. Okay. So we're entering our 21st year and we're still slaughtering deer for no reason. I mean, the commissioners have come up with 3 different reasons, but none of them are true. They're totally false. Evidence has been provided for each one of those issues to show that it was false. And where are we? Well, we got to get out there and kill those deer, right? I mean, that's what matters. Save those petunias. Doesn't matter that they're innocent. Innocents have been killed all over the planet. Still going on in Ukraine and Gaza and right here in Lebo. You know, it's all very distasteful to me. I've served tours of duty in 3 combat zones. I've seen bodies of innocents piled up in the forest in Bosnia. I've seen lines of bodies alongside a road in Kosovo because people hate each other. What we do best on this planet is kill each other. We hate each other. You know, there's always an excuse. You don't have my religion. Your grandfather did something. Or, well, maybe you ate my flowers. How tragic, you know. I've seen an awful lot more than the rest of you. And if just eating flowers was a crime, a capital crime, we should all be out there. The deer should be extinct, isn't that right, folks? And they would be if that was a crime. It's not a crime, it's a fantasy. And it's a few people that just want to complain and kill innocent animals. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Hoon. Brian Neft.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Brian Neff. I live at 1163 Furwood Drive. I'm a proud Jew and a 30-year resident of Mount Lebanon. My wife and I have raised our 3 children in what we've always believed has been a welcoming and inclusive environment. Just a few minutes ago, we recited the Pledge of Allegiance, which contains in it the phrase, "One nation under God," even though the concept of a deity owes itself more to religious doctrine than it does to any municipal edict. I'm here with many members of the South Hills Jewish community and the Mount Lebanon Greater community tonight concerning the decision of this body to reject Chabad of the South Hills permit for a Hanukkah parade and its request to place a menorah in Clearview Commons along with the Christmas tree that the municipality placed there. We have support from other elected representatives, including Representative Dan Miller. We have here Thomas Cheriton from State Representative Abigail Salisbury's office, and County Council Representative Dan Grisbeck is also supporting us in this effort. About 2 weeks ago, I read the article that Commissioner Silverman referenced in the Jewish Chronicle about how Chabad has sought to have a Hanukkah celebration in Mount Lebanon over the last 3 years and has been turned down every time. I thought that this issue had been laid to rest some 35 years ago when the Supreme Court of the United States in Allegheny County versus ACLU ruled that if you allow a Christmas tree, then you must include a menorah too. The Hanukkah celebrations, which you've already heard about, are commonplace elsewhere in Allegheny County and throughout the nation. There were recent celebrations in the city, in Dormont, and Swissville, among others. And if you haven't been to one, you really owe it to yourself to go to one to see what it's all about and see how the community is celebrating the festival of Hanukkah. What made things even worse is that the commission revoked a permit that the police chief had already issued to have a Hanukkah parade when there's no mechanism in the Mount Lebanon ordinances for the commission to do so. We need to find ways to be the inclusive place to live that I always thought Mount Lebanon is. This is particularly important now when the Jewish community has faced greater anti-Semitism now than at any time in its post-war history. I think you will find a willing partner in Chabad and in the entire Jewish community to come up with a reasonable solution to any concerns you may have. I look forward to being part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Mendy Rosenblum.
Wendy Rosenblum from 821 Richfield Avenue. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. First, I want to take a moment to express my deep appreciation for everything the leadership of Mount Lebanon does to make our community so extraordinary. My family and I have lived here, or most of my family, because some of them were born after, but we have lived here for 27 years. And we've been very proud to call Mount Lebanon our home. This is where we raised and continue to raise our children. And now 3 of our married children have chosen to return here to start their families and build their lives in this wonderful town. Mount Lebanon is a special place and it's evident in many ways. We often joke that you can tell where Mount Lebanon ends and Pittsburgh begins just by following the trail of perfectly cleared snow. Recently, a neighbor experienced a tree that fell in their yard during a recent storm. And by the very next morning, Mount Lebanon crews were out there to clean it up. The level of care and attention to the physical well-being of this town is truly unmatched. But tonight, I'm here to talk about another form of care, the care that we show for the soul of our community. Just as we tend to our roads and parks and public spaces with incredible attention, it's essential that we also nurture the connections and inclusivity that make our community stronger. For the Mount Lebanon that I cherish is a place where diversity is celebrated and where our shared values shine as brightly as the holiday lights on our streets. Mount Lebanon's commitment to creating joy and light for its residents is clear. A great example is the holiday displays and celebrations organized by Mount Lebanon's partnership on Beverly Road and on Washington Roads. These annual traditions bring people together and showcase the community's spirit. Over the past few years, we've suggested ways to make these celebrations and displays even more inclusive, reflecting the diversity that makes Mount Lebanon so special. For instance, the holiday display at Clearview Common currently features a Christmas tree, a cherished and meaningful symbol for many. However, for Mount Lebanon's sizable Jewish population, the second largest Jewish community in Western Pennsylvania, the absence of a menorah is notable. The menorah and the traditions of menorah lightings have become cherished symbols of light, hope, and inclusion in cities, towns, and boroughs across the United States. From major metropolitan areas to small rural communities, public menorah lightings remind us of our nation's diversity and its commitment to celebrating all traditions. The menorah embodies a universal message of bringing light to darkness, freedom of expression, and triumph over oppression. Themes that resonate deeply with people of all backgrounds, especially during the holiday season. This past Hanukkah alone, I attended or helped arrange half a dozen Hanukkah events, as you heard from previous speakers, in Dormont, Washington, PA, and throughout Pittsburgh. These events drew a cross-section of the community, Jews and non-Jews, leaders, senators, mayors, and in Dormont, the entire Dormont leadership. These celebrations foster a profound sense of inclusion and community. We hope to bring that same spirit to Mount Lebanon's holiday traditions. Including a menorah in next year's holiday display would be a simple yet powerful step toward ensuring everyone in our community feels seen and valued. It's not about taking anything away. It's about adding to the richness of our shared celebration. It would send a message that Mount Lebanon is a community where everyone, regardless of faith or background, is embraced. It's worth noting that this type of inclusion is not only permissible under the law, but also fully aligns with Mount Lebanon values. This township has consistently shown how much it cares for its residents, from the meticulous care of our streets to the incredible pride we all feel in our community. Including the menorah would be an extension of that same spirit, a way to nurture not just the physical beauty of our town, but its cultural and emotional heart. Thank you again for your time, your leadership, and all that you do to make Mount Lebanon the extraordinary place it is. I'm confident that together we can create holiday celebrations that reflect the diversity and strength of our community, and ensure that every single resident truly feels at home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Charlene Tissenbaum.
Charlene Tissenbaum, 1140 Folkestone. A little hard to follow after a rabbi and attorney, but I'll give it my best. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here to gather and to speak. My name is Charlene Tissenbaum. My husband and I have been residents of Mount Lebanon for almost 30 years. It's here where we raised our 3 kids. And recently our son and daughter-in-law insisted on moving back to Mount Lebanon so their daughter could start kindergarten, and she did this year at Jefferson. I'm happy. This is my first commissioners meeting. To be honest, I had to check actually which ward number 5. Thank you, Mr. Flay. So I really, after living here for 30 years, and this is my first commissioners meeting, I really feel that I need to thank you all for doing everything that you do and for keeping Mount Lebanon, Mount Lebanon. So what is it about Mount Lebanon that we love so much? Why do our kids keep on coming back? And why do empty nesters keep on staying? Well, it's because it's a great example of a thriving community. We know our neighbors become our friends. We share common values. Our schools, our sporting events, our school events bring us all together. They're our focal point. This is where we spend time together, get to know each other, and share many things together. Its vibrancy continues to shine in its thriving restaurants and local businesses. I mean, look on Washington Road, look at Beverly Road. Like when I walk through town, I'm so proud to be a resident. When I go to Hometown Mailing Center and on Cochrane, and I know the owner, Paul, like I feel we're so lucky how many of us still live in a place like Mount Lebanon. And we can't forget the churches and synagogues and local organizations and groups, how we collaborate and we have joint programming together all through Mount Lebanon. Mount Lebanon is a multicultural community that thrives on diversity and inclusivity. So for next year, I hope you will consider expanding Mount Lebanon's holiday display and festivities to reflect Mount Lebanon's multiculturalism. for me, as a Jewish woman, I would love to see a beautiful shining menorah next to the many beautiful Christmas trees. And for somebody else, that might look a little different, but for me, that menorah would really make me even be prouder to be a Mount Lebanon resident. So I'd like to finish off by saying for me, for the entire group, the residents, the people who couldn't be here, oh, hello, the Zoom people too. We just want to be Mount Lebanon to remain our amazing community that reflects all the people that live here. And thanks again for your time, this opportunity, and for everything you do. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlene. Kirill Tropin, did I pronounce that right?
Hi, everyone. Kirill Tropin, 945 Margareta Avenue. I would like to start the year with compliments. Happy New Year and good job approving the budget for this year. There are lots of good ideas, lots of good line items. I'm looking forward to all of them being spent very well and having a good year. Second compliment is for snow removal from our roads. So before Mount Lebo, I lived in 7 cities during my life. All happen to be to the north of Mount Lebo, and we do the best job out of all the cities by far. Money were allocated, everyone was ready, everyone knew what to do, all the SOPs were there, and we did brilliantly. So congratulations and good job to the city. Yeah, so now we're done with compliments. I want to talk about snow on sidewalks. Snow on sidewalks. So I told you I live in 7 cities, and I would rank Mount Lebo as one of the worst for physical safety when people walk on sidewalks in different situations. So last night I was coming back from work in the evening, walking from T-stop to my house, and you know, sidewalk is a bit of a weak link problem. If there is one weak link, if there is one ice, or one patch of ice, or one patch of snow, it ruins the whole journey. And it puts people at physical harm. And as I was walking home from T-stop, about 1/3 of our links were weak. About 1/3 of patches of sidewalks were not cleaned, they were slippery. And I'm walking along the street where people are speeding, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, what is safer? Walking at night on the street where cars are speeding, or walking on slippery sidewalk? For me, it was walking on sidewalk, but during the day, I see children walk on the road. You can decide for yourself what is safer for you in different situations. Then on the weekend, on Sunday, we're driving on Cochrane with my wife, and we saw a bus stop on Cochrane and near McCully. I think that's the intersection. It seemed like it wasn't cleaned even once. I'm not sure who's responsible for it, but also kind of puts people at risk if people are commuting by bus. So this morning I thought that would be it with my stories, but I was feeling adventurous during lunchtime. I was working from home. I decided to go for a jog, and I'm wearing evidence of my jog. So I was running, and within less than a mile from my house, I slipped on ice near intersection, so near crosswalk, near intersection, and it was just 1 foot of ice. So the weak link was just 1 foot of ice near intersection, near crosswalk. Again, not sure who's responsible for it. So it was right near the crossing, right near the beginning of the street. And I'm physically fit. I'll be fine. I'll have some bruises, scratched skin. I'll need to buy new pants. But imagine if I was an elderly person, that would be a broken hip and 1 year of recovery, probably in that case of falling. And so, when it comes to the snow, we love talking here about different modes of transportation. People commuting by cars. I commute by car sometimes. People commuting by transit. I commute by transit sometimes. People walking in our beautiful uptown and different commercial districts. People riding bicycles. Children walking to schools. All sorts of modes of transportation. But when it comes to snow, it's very clear we have a single priority. Single priority is our roads and nothing else, based on my experience living here. And so my ask for you is following. Start taking action right now. This winter already, help make our sidewalks safer for all residents, and then also think about changing policy or enforcement in our policy for next year. We have 11 months till next winter. Next winter is going to come. There's going to be snow. We have 11 months to prepare to change our policy or change our behavior with enforcement of the policy. Since I have 1 more minute, I looked up different cities and how they do it in different parts of the US. I'm not bringing examples of Stockholm, not bringing examples of Tokyo. That's like a different level completely from us. But some examples from the US, for instance, Burlington, Vermont, surprisingly similar to us in terms of number of streets, lengths of streets in miles, lengths of sidewalks. They aim to clean sidewalks within 24 hours, and they apologize if they finish in more than 24 hours, but they aim to do it in under 48. Prioritizing, again, business district, prioritizing near schools, etc. Most popular places where people walk. Chicago, slightly different approach. People can complain, and then city finds the resident or finds the business and then cleans it up within 48 hours. So different approaches, and there are different other examples you could look up. So again, my ask for you is to figure out a better approach for us as a city for next winter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up is Gene Tabachnik.
I'll yield my time.
Thank you. David Egler. Dave here.
Dave Egler, 121 Poplar Drive. Happy New Year to all. As I promised in December, I'll be back and I plan to be here quite often, so get used to me. Always like to hear some of the topics here because it brings back memories for me. I actually worked with Public Works with the billing for sidewalk repairs about 47 years ago, so I'm very familiar with it. I also work with Public Works about 25 years ago on my own personal property. I had a maple tree there, I had a heave and a sidewalk. When I got it replaced, I requested a small ornamental tree for two reasons. One, I've had a tree in now 25 years. The sidewalk is up a little bit, but not nearly as bad as before. And the tree itself, it does not encroach the power lines. Messes with cable TV, but cable's terrible anyway. So my recommendation on some of these, my side of the street has the power lines. Anybody putting trees in, I would recommend ornamental trees where it doesn't interfere with the lines and the problems. As far as the sidewalks, you're always going to have problems with that. Commissioner Gurley, you had mentioned about people complaining. Every time I shovel my sidewalk and hit that crack, I complain. Trust me, everybody else does. There's a but in that though. They want their sidewalk repaired until you tell them what may happen. As Rudy Sickle mentioned, the roots would be cut and they may lose their tree. At that point, they all back off. So you're going to run into that with the tree root program, guaranteed. As far as the discussion on the vehicles, I have a bit of experience there. I was on the vehicle committee here. Going back 47 years, I've been on vehicle committees in other places I worked. I was here when we had the Crown Victorias. They were called Interceptors back in the day. Remember, they looked like upside down bathtubs. We used to run propane in them. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that was an experimental thing, running propane. Problem is you had a big tank in the trunk, so you had no room for anything, and you were driving around in a bomb, basically. Yeah. Did it save any money and do any good? Not really. It was an experiment that was tried for a few years, and it didn't really work out. As far as electric, I heard everything the chief and deputy chief said. I agree 100%. We're not ready for that right now. The cost, you got to give the taxpayers a break. The cost isn't there. There's a lot of problems with it. One thing that wasn't mentioned, I know with police vehicles a few years ago, there used to be, I think it's a 75-mile-an-hour crash in the rear. I don't know if that's still in there or not, and I don't know if the cars can handle it. Now you could say, hey, we don't have to worry about our cars 75 mile an hour. Go on Washington Road sometimes, cars can get up to that. And when you get rear-ended, you're saving somebody's life, okay? And with batteries in it and such, I don't know. I kind of like the e-bike idea, okay? But as far as vehicles, I'm sorry, I don't think we're ready for that. Tesla, you mentioned Tesla a lot. My son does auto body work. He says they don't touch Teslas. When there's a problem with the Tesla comes in, nobody wants to work on them or they can't work on them. So you're very limited on that. So when you hear these cost estimates, you're on the low side here. It's only going to get worse until they perfect this. And in time, keep looking at it in time. Probably not in my lifetime, but in time, maybe electric vehicles work. Right now, no. As an example, I got an older car, 10 years old. Got an estimate today on my e-brake. What's an e-brake? Number of cars have electronic brakes now, okay? You have the old manual where you pull the handle before and add a cable. Now you got an electronic brake. Pull a little button, you hear the motor run, locks up the brakes. Well, when they fail, my bill is going to be $1,000 for a control module for this, because it doesn't like to talk to the computer. So when you talk about electronics, you're talking about big bucks, okay? Sometimes the simple thing's the better way to go. So just my 2 cents worth, like I said, not now. And I know there was some discussion about the fire truck. I don't think we could afford. I heard estimates of twice the price. Did anybody, what's the weight of those things? What's the weight capacity of our floor in that building? I may suggest a door in the back also, because when it goes in there and it falls through the floor, or you develop cracks, there could be problems. So, I mean, I personally got a few seconds. I personally know somebody who has a Tesla. Okay, he went to full screen. He paid over a couple grand to have a charging station put in his house. He's afraid to take the car any distance. He has that fear. He goes out, and if you go any charge, you're very limited on the places. It takes time. Okay, there's always this fear of, well, what happens here? What happens there? So whenever he really needs to have a vehicle, he takes his gas-powered vehicle. He's afraid to take his electrical one out. He likes it, but it's just as an aside. It's like as we heard, I think the word gimmick in some places. So that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
You? Gene, last chance before we go to the online. We're good? Okay. Any online, Nick?
Yes, someone has their hand raised. 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, Morgan, you can go ahead with your comment.
Hi, my name's Morgan Sulik. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I live at 138 Sleepy Hollow Road. I'm part of Move Levo. I'm here to talk about sidewalks and clearing the snow. For me, even though I love walking, biking, fortunately to where I work, my daily commute takes me on both 51 and Lebanon Church, so I'm stuck driving every day. But in the evenings on the weekends, I try to walk or bike for as many outings and errands as I can. I like the time outside, I like the exercise, and I like petting all the cute dogs. Last week, with all the snow and daycare illnesses running in our house, I chose to drive the mile to daycare instead of normally to do a stroller walk and enjoy the weather. But last week, didn't want to try my luck with the sidewalk conditions, so I drove. But I was on the way to daycare pickup. I was stopped at the light at Washington Road and Bower Hill Light. And I looked over to my left and I realized how much of a privilege it was that I was able to choose to drive that night. I saw a man with his seeing eye dog trying to attempt to walk an uncleared sidewalk along Washington Road where the construction fence is. It appeared that it hadn't been cleared at all, and he was stumbling through the slush. When I saw that, I saw we were failing to provide a way to move around Mount Lebanon that works for everyone. He should have a safe way to get home. We're treating cars as a default option, walking, biking as just hobbies, and then the facilities for those modes of transportations as just nice to haves. And that fails a significant portion of our community, especially our youngest, through children, and our oldest. Last week, my grandpa and my great aunts total had 4 falls, all of them fine, but untreated sidewalks are a safety issue, and even a small patch from one house could put someone in the hospital. Love to live in a community where everyone is just gung-ho about cleaning sidewalks. I know it's a really big challenge, especially with the patchwork of clearing. To do the most good, I think targeted enforcement on high traffic routes should be considered, especially around schools, businesses, and transit access locations for single family homes. For example, I think Kirill mentioned it, but the Rockwood Ave near St. Anne's Station wasn't getting cleared properly, and that was creating a hazard for T-riders. Though as a positive in that location, the cut through to Foster Elementary was cleared, and my friend could take his kindergartner to school. I do think businesses and apartment buildings could have the code enforced this winter to ensure that they're providing snow removal services. They benefit from being in a walkable area, and snow management would just be part of the price for being in such a prime location. Thank you.
Anyone else, Nick?
That was the last person.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment on the comments here today. I think everyone was amazingly respectful. Appreciate your comments. I've spoken to several of the commenters here tonight. I know other members of the commission have as well, so thank you. We will keep discussing this, and I know Steve mentioned the Community Engagement Board is taking this up as well. So certainly encourage you to continue having that conversation at the Community Engagement Board as well. Those meetings are public, and I encourage you to bring comments there as well. And they will come back to us for consideration also. Their recommendations will come to us as well. So we'll continue that conversation. Thank you very much. Moving on to, well, wait a second. You know, this is atypical. One of my cousins. Not yet. No. How are you? Hasn't much. It was like one of those one-on-one courses, right? They got the height, I got the gray hair. No,
Anybody's not staying for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah. The commission meeting is still live if you're planning to. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to stay, if you could maybe slide to the lobby. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's,
Okay, item number 5
Thank
is the consideration of the minutes from the regular board meeting held December 10th, 2024, and the organization meeting held on January 6th, 2025. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Flynn, item number 6, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 1-25, amending the Mount Lebanon Code to include newly enacted ordinances or amendments to existing ordinances enacted since January 23rd, 2024. Mount Lebanon's ordinances were codified in 1978 with updates occurring periodically since that time. All of the ordinances have been enacted previously by the commission, but this action will codify the documents. Mr. President, I introduce ordinance bill number 1-25.
Thank you, Commissioner Flynn. We'll set the public hearing for January 28, 2025. Commissioner Silverman, item number 7, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the sanitary and storm sewer point repair project. Bids were received on December 3rd, 2024 for the Mount Lebanon Sanitary and Sewer Point Repair Project. This project is used to make repairs in the sanitary and storm sewer system as they're identified in the calendar year through investigative work or emergency situations. The bid includes items which could be used in such work, and bids were submitted by 3 contractors and verified by the municipal engineer as followed. On my right, the audience is left. Municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. Municipal engineer recommends the project be awarded to Neando Construction. The contractor has successfully completed this work in Mount Lebanon previously. The engineer's estimate for this work is approximately $1,064,000, and the project will be paid for from the sanitary and storm sewer funds. I'd like to note, by the way, that the winning bid is less than the estimated amount. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon Sanitary and Storm Sewer Point Repairs Project contract to Neando Construction in the amount of $1,011,696.18 for the base bid, with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion for the items of the contract documents.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Silverman. Commissioner Swager Wilson, number 8, please.
Consideration for the award of the sanitary and storm sewer lining project. Bids were received on December 3rd, 2024 for the Mount Lebanon Sanitary and Storm Sewer Lining Project. This project involves sanitary and storm sewer full-length manhole-to-manhole lining. The bid includes items which could be used in such work, and bids were submitted by 4 contractors and verified by the municipal engineer as followed. To my right and to the audience's left are the bids. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The municipal engineer recommends the project be awarded to Jet Jack Inc. The contractor has successfully completed this contract work in Mount Lebanon previously. The engineer's estimate for this work is approximately $1,295,000, and the project will be paid for from the sanitary and storm sewer funds. And once again, the winning bid is below the estimate. I move to award the Mount Lebanon Sanitary and Storm Sewer Lining Project contract to Jet Jack Inc. in the amount of $1,167,130 for the base bid.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Flynn, item number 9, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the annual storm and sanitary sewer cleaning and televising contract. Bids were received on December 3rd, 2024 for the annual storm and sanitary sewer cleaning and televising contract. This contract for 2025 encompasses cleaning and video inspection to fulfill the requirements of the operation and maintenance portion of the consent order, as well as to inspect sewers under roads to be repaved or reconstructed. The contract includes a base year, 2025, with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion to maintain continuity. Other advantages include reduced bidding and administrative costs, and it incentivizes contractors to provide a better pricing for a potential multi-year contract. The municipal engineer has verified the bid as is displayed on your screen or on the audience's left. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer's estimate for the work was $395,300, and based upon past performance of the contractor, he recommends award of the contract to Robinson Pipe Cleaning Company. The amount of work issued under the contract will be paid for from the general account. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon Storm and Sanitary Sewer Cleaning and Televising Contract to Robinson Pipe Cleaning Company in the amount of $377,550 for the 2025 base bid, with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Just to note that this also came in below budget.
Thank you.
Hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, item number 10, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award for the 2025 Corrective Action Repair Project. Bids are received on December 3rd, 2024 for the Mount Lebanon 2025 Corrective Repair Contract. This project involves sanitary sewer rehabilitation work, including manhole-to-manhole lining and manhole rehabilitation. The project will address compliance with the requirements of the current consent order agreement. Bids were submitted by 4 contractors and verified by the municipal engineer as follows. They're on my right, the audience's left. Municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. Municipal engineer recommends the project be awarded to Jet Jack Incorporated. The contractor has successfully completed this type of work in Mount Lebanon previously. The engineer's estimate for this work is $2,695,000, and a portion of the project will be paid for from an Alcasant Grow grant and the balance from the sanitary sewer fund. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon 2025 Corrective Action Repair Project contract to Jet Jack Inc. in the total amount of $2,413,265.
I second.
And again, this came in under budget. There may be a few over, so we want to keep scoring, racking up the wins when we got them.
Keep scoring. Nice.
There's a motion, and a second. Any questions? I have just one question. Andrew, do you know how much that Alcoasand Grow grant was this year? I know we've gotten probably over $1 million the last couple of years. Thanks, Dan.
This project will complete, and then based upon the amount of water that's taken out of the system, they'll fund anywhere from 15 to like 30% or maybe even more, depending upon how well the project does. So we have to complete the project, then we do post-development flow monitoring, and then they award a grant.
Got it. Okay.
So we make pre-application, they know that it's coming, and then their final determination is based upon performance of the project.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You, Commissioner Swager Wilson, number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration for the award for the Beggs Snyder Sanitary Sewer Repairs Project. Bids were received on December 3rd, 2024 for the Mount Lebanon Beggs Snyder Sanitary Sewer Repairs Contract. This project involves sanitary sewer replacement and lowering to correct an exposed sanitary sewer segment within a stream, concrete encasement, stream restoration, sanitary sewer full-length manhole to manhole lining, CIPP repairs, sanitary sewer manhole replacements, installation of drop connections, sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation, and associated site restoration. The bid includes items which could be used in such work, and bids were submitted by 3 contractors and verified by the municipal engineer, as you can see on my right and the audience's left or on your screen. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low responsive bid to be accurate. The municipal engineer recommends the project be awarded to A. Moranti Contracting, Inc. The contractor has successfully completed this type of work in Mount Lebanon previously. The engineer's estimate for this work is $450,000, and it will be paid for with a small sewer and water grant and an Alcoasand Grow grant. I move to award the Mount Lebanon Beggs Snyder Sanitary Sewer Repairs Contract A. Morante Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $395,772, which is again below the budgeted amount.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Flynn, item number 12, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the renewal of the manhole rehabilitation project for 2025. Bids were received on December 5th, 2024, I'm guessing, or is it 2023? It is 2023. Okay, for the manhole rehabilitation project. The project includes the rehabilitation of sanitary sewer manholes showing signs of deterioration throughout the municipality. This is a required activity of the EPA consent order. The contract includes a base year 2024 with 2 optional renewal periods. The municipal engineer verified the bids in 2023 as presented on your screen. The municipal engineer, based upon performance of the contractor, recommends extension of the contract to Robinson Pipe Cleaning Company. The contractor has completed the base year's work in a satisfactory manner. The first renewal period for the 2025 year represents approximately a 3% increase above the 2024 contract. The engineer's estimate for this work is $614,790, and the project is to be funded through the Sanitary Sewer Fund. Mr. President, I move to award the first renewal period, 2025 Sanitary Sewer Manhole Rehabilitation Program contract to Robinson Pipe Cleaning Company in the amount of $484,228.75 with the option of an additional year at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
So low budget.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, item number 13, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for renewal of the backwater valve maintenance contract for 2025. Bids were received on December 5th, 2023 for the Mount Lebanon Backwater Valve Maintenance Contract. This contract is used to clean, repair, and maintain backwater valves that have been installed on private sanitary sewer house laterals by the municipality. The contract included a base year, 2024, with 3 optional renewal periods. The municipality has the right to renew this contract on a year basis until 2027. Municipal engineer verified the bid in 2023 as follows, and that's up on the screen for our audience. The municipal engineer, based upon the performance of the contractor, recommends extension of the contract to Roto-Rooter Services Company. The contractor has completed the base year's work in a satisfactory manner. The first renewal period for the 2025 year represents a 2.31% increase above the 2024 contract. The engineer's estimate for this work is $24,585, and the project is to be funded through the sanitary sewer fund. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 renewal of the backwater valve maintenance contract to Roto-Rooter Services Company in the first renewal amount of $17,256, with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents. And yes.
I'd like to second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments other than those already given?
Repeatedly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Smucker Wilson, item number 14, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the renewal of the chemical root treatment contract for 2025. Bids were received on February 21st, 2023, pardon me, for the chemical root treatment project. This project includes the chemical root treatment of approximately 45,000 linear feet of sanitary sewers throughout the municipality of Mount Lebanon. The contract included a base year, 2023, with 3 optional renewal periods. This allows the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion to maintain continuity. Other advantages include reduced bidding and administrative costs, and it incentivizes contractors to provide better pricing for a potential multi-year contract. The municipal engineer verified the bids in 2023, as seen on your screen to the audience's left. The municipal engineer, based upon the performance of the contractor, recommends extension of the contract to Duke's Root Control, Inc. The contractor has completed the base and first renewal year's work in a satisfactory manner. The second renewal period for the 2025 year represents a 5% increase above the 2023 contract. The engineer's estimate for this work in 2023 was $85,180, and the project is to be funded through the Sanitary Sewer Fund. I move to award the second renewal period, 2025 Chemical Root Treatment Program, to Duke's Root Control, Inc. in the amount of $88,357.50, with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion for the terms of the contract documents.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? I'll just make one quick comment. This was the 11th or 12th item on the list for sanitary and stormwater, just to give people an idea of how important these items are. We go through this every year, but this is literally several $1 million worth of contracts for stuff that is mostly out of sight, out of mind. But when we pay taxes and also part of the stormwater fee, this is where this goes to. So very important.
Also under the estimate, so.
All under the estimate. Thank you, Commissioner Sullivan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Flynn, item number 15, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the distinct pleasure to bring for your consideration the opportunity to purchase a new playground surfacing for Williamsburg Park. Based on the 2022 Parks Master Plan, it was determined that the play surface for Williamsburg Park and Park Playground should be replaced. Using the Omnia Cooperative Purchasing Network, pricing to replace the surface was received from Yoka Playgrounds in the amount of $69,406, which includes playground grass, hopscotch, log steppers, and new poly lumber borders around the entire playground. The budgeted amount is $90,000. Mr. President, I move to approve the purchase of a new playground surface for Williamsburg Park from Yoko Playgrounds in the amount of $69,406.
And I second, because again, it's well under the budgeted amount.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? I'll just say this is a Fourth Ward park, and I know the Fourth Ward residents will love that this playground is being updated.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, item number 16, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of bids for mowing and trimming area number 1, which is Main Park / Bird Park / Beetling, and the Tennis Center. Bids were received on December 19th, 2024 for the 2025 through 2027 mowing and trimming contract for area number 1 and the Tennis Center as follows, and they are on my right, the audience's left. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $41,800 was approved for Main Park / Bird Park / Beetling, and $10,000 was approved for the Tennis Center in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder's references were checked and are satisfactory. The Public Works Director's recommendations are as follows. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 mowing and trimming area number 1 contract for a total of $34,375 and the Tennis Center for a total of $18,488 to JML Landscaping with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion for the terms of the contract documents.
I'll second.
And I regret to say this one, however, is slightly over budget.
Mr. President, can I provide a little just because I don't want to break our string here.
But the rest come out great. This one was a little over. The rest are.
I was gonna say the commission was provided with a memo from the Public Works Director for area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, the library, commercial district, landscape and flower bed maintenance. We look at those sort of in total. The allocated funding in the budget was $230,550. The low bid for all of those items in aggregate is $194,967. So in total, we will once again be under the budgeted amount.
Streak alive. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Smucker Wilson, item number 17, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of bids for mowing and trimming area number 2. Bids were received on December 19th, 2024 for the 2025 through 2027 mowing and trimming contract for area 2 as follows. Once again, on the screen on the audience's left. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $28,600 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder previously provided this service in a satisfactory manner. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. I move to award the 2025 mowing and trimming area number 2 contract for a total of $31,000 to Straight Edge with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Dare I?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Flynn, item number 18, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the bids of mowing and trimming area number 3. Bids were received on December 19th, 2024 for the 2025 through 2027 mowing and trimming contract for area 3 as presented on your screens. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $44,100 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder previously provided this service in a satisfactory manner. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 mowing and trimming area number 3 contract for a total of $42,000 to Little's Landscaping with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents.
It's my greatest pleasure to add a second. We are delirious.
Doing a game show shortly.
We have a motion and a second, and I'm sure we will have Commissioner Silverman's comments.
It's under budget, $2,100.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, item number 19, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of bids for mowing and trimming area number 4. Bids were received on December 19, 2024 for the 2025 to 2027 mowing and trimming contract for area number 4 as follows, and they're on my right, the audience is left. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $15,400 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder previously provided this service in a satisfactory manner. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 mowing and trimming area number 4 contract for a total of $14,508 to Straight Edge with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion for the terms of the contract documents.
After giving this a great deal of thought, I would like to second.
This one's a whopping $900 under budget.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Swager Wilson, item number 20, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of bids for the Commercial District Landscape Maintenance. One bid was received on December 19th, 2024 for Commercial District Landscape Maintenance as follows on your screens. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $25,000 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder's references were checked and are satisfactory. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. I move to award the 2025 contract for Commercial District Landscape Maintenance for a total of $10,664 to JML Landscaping with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents. And that's way under budget.
Way.
Mhm.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Flynn, item number 21, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of bids for flower bed maintenance. 2 bids were received on December 19th, 2024 for flower bed maintenance as presented on your screens. The contract includes a base year 2025 with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $42,900 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for this contract. The bid was advertised in the Post-Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder's references were checked and are satisfactory. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 contract for flower bed maintenance for a total of $25,060 to JML Landscaping with the option of additional years at the municipality's discretion per the terms of the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Can we just have Commissioner Flynn, something like Spiegel, Chicago, Cadillac, 606, you just sound like.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, item number 22, please.
And that one was also under budget as well. Mr. President, I'll keep that streak going. Mr. President, consideration of bids for mowing, trimming, and mulching for the library, Clearview Common, Public Safety Center, and the Swim Center. One bid was received on December 19th, 2024 for mowing, trimming, and mulching at the library, Clearview Common, Public Safety Center, and the Swim Center as follows. And it's on my right, the audience's left. The contract includes a base year, 2025, with 2 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to extend at Mount Lebanon's discretion. $13,750 was approved in the 2025 operating budget for the library / Clearview Common / Public Safety Center, and $9,000 was approved for the Swim Center. The bid was advertised in the Post Gazette and on the municipal website. The bidder's references were checked and are satisfactory. The Director of Public Works recommendations are as follows. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 contract for mowing, trimming, and mulching the library, Clearview Common, and Public Safety Center for a total of $13,305, and the Swim Center for a total of $5,897 to JML Landscaping, with the option for additional years at the municipality's discretion for the terms of the contract documents. And yes, this will reflect the
And
budget as well.
second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President, if I may, I would like to make a suggestion that at the next commission meeting, Commissioner Siegler has to read all of the documents.
No second, no second.
I'll second that one.
Damn it. That's fair.
Well, buy us all around in drinks. I mean,
Uh,
that works.
Fair enough.
Work too. All in
That-
favor?
that-
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Yay.